President Trump says the economy is better than it's ever been, but as trade tensions continue to escalate, are there economic headwinds to worry about? Well, Steve Liesman joins us. He's got a look at that very subject. Steve.
David, thank President Trump now going where economists had feared, escalating the trade disputes to a place where the totals can have measurable impacts on U.S. and global growth and inflation.
If you were to have $400 billion of tariffs executed, not just discussed, but actually executed, you're probably talking about 4/10 off of global GDP, which today is about 3.9 to 4%.
Now, previously, the administration argued, and most economists agreed, the amounts under discussion were not enough to move either the GDP or the inflation needles. The primary concern was one on sentiment and uncertainty. But Oxford economics writing this morning, quote, China has quickly vowed to retaliate, and if such an escalation does materialize, it would have significant economic impact on China, the U.S., and the rest of the world. The probability of a full-blown trade war between the world's two largest economies is rising. Oxford says it can't rule out cooler heads will prevail, but says if they don't, the tariffs can shave 0.3 off of Chinese growth and 0.2% off U.S. growth. Now, if strong growth continues, we may be upwards of 4% this quarter. These subtractions are going to be nothing more than a modest opportunity loss. But if the U.S. reverts back to trend growth of, say, around 2%, then the negatives from the tariffs could wipe out all that extra growth that economists think could come from the tax cuts. All agree. Fairer trade from China would boost growth. There's just increasing doubt, guys, and growing concern about the cost and potential effectiveness of the president's tactics. David, Michelle?
Yeah, I suppose the next step, Steve, is you were talking about the overall effect on macro, right? GDP. But then next you wait to see what the actual analysts or the company specific are going to say about specific companies' exposure.
I think that's right. And also the idea of perhaps, upsetting existing trade routes and supply chains. That's another big factor. But, I was just reading this morning, Michelle, Apple maybe pays something like $300 or the value of the iPhone from Apple is in China is $300 and sells it here for, I don't know, $800 or $900 or $1,000. That kind of markup, I mean, that could be a substantial hit to Apple profits. Other companies use intermediate profits and intermediate products. And the bigger question would be if these tariffs move along and start hitting consumer products.
Yep, we'll be watching for that. Thanks, Steve.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.